Hi, my name is Maruchi van het Veen from Drawing to Health, and welcome back to the course. The last video we briefly reviewed the syllabus so you can know what to expect in the course. And this video we're going to talk about the sources for looking for a job online. Now, let me just immediately start off. Uh, Here you have a list of all the sources that exist. So you have networking, LinkedIn, which is kind of also social media, but LinkedIn is a bit more specific. RSS feeds, staffing and recruiting firms, and job boards. So I'll be just going um, from top to bottom and just giving a brief explanation of each one. So networking usually is done um, by going to certain events, get-togethers, expos, whatnot. Usually you do this face to face, but you can also do this online, and there's a couple of ways you can do this. So you could engage with social media of a company that you might be interested in, and engage with them in an authentic way. And with that, I mean just don't mindlessly comment on everything, but actually be detailed in what you are talking about. For example, hmm, how how good of an example would this be? Okay, so say you have a social media company that you want to apply to. Instead of just saying, "Oh, that's a cool post," you could get some details from that post and say, "Oh, I really like the way you explained this," or I really find it interesting as to how this works." Make it a little bit more um, individual, I suppose. Something to keep in mind that most responses need to be tailored, specific, thoughtful, and engaging for a company to pick up on you, to really stand out. Um, Another way to do this would be to, do the same thing, but then on their own website. You could also mail them, especially if they have blogs about certain themes that you might find interesting. It's always good to mail them and you know um, express your interest in the subject, ask questions, or even just say a brief thank you for the content that they post. This will make them more interested in you as a person, and that's a great way to build your network. Um, Now, networking also kind of ties into social media, as I said, um, and also to LinkedIn, which is, great segue. Uh, you might already know about LinkedIn, but if you don't, it's basically a social media platform. I wouldn't say exclusively for businesses, but it is business oriented. And as it is business oriented, there are also job postings to be found there. So you could actually find jobs through LinkedIn. I One of my friends actually did. She reacted to a LinkedIn post and got the job that way. So there is certainly a way to get jobs on LinkedIn. And the way you can network in LinkedIn, because it's set up as a business, from a business point of view, you can follow companies and make connections. They call them connections. You're not friending them, you're connecting with them. So sometimes someone might find you because LinkedIn shows that you have a degree of connection with someone. If you know about the five degrees to Kevin Bacon, I think it was called, but you can substitute any person, and that basically means that you are five connections away from an important person. Could be any important person. Um, so those connections are actually very important, and that's basically what LinkedIn is using, is um, that connection principle to bring people together, and that could be businesses and individuals, because businesses also have LinkedIn. Obviously, otherwise they wouldn't have the job postings on there. So that's a bit networking and LinkedIn. They're a little bit, enmeshed, because LinkedIn is a networking platform, which also works for getting jobs. And networking also can get you a job by someone, knowing who you are and thinking about you when they're looking for a candidate. So that's those two, a little, you know, together. Another good source for getting jobs is RSS feeds. And if you don't know what this are, so RSS is a shorthand for real simple syndication. And it's usually used by blogs, um, like news outlets, podcasts, but also by certain job sites or even the blogs of a company. RSS feeds are usually automated, which means that whenever they put something on a website, it will automatically generate a small, easily readable um, piece of text that will be put into that feed. And those feeds can update real quickly. Um, I'm sure that you've seen blogs where they have subscribed to my feed, and that usually is an RSS feed. So what that does is when you're subscribed to that and they post something, it will immediately get pushed to that feed, and then you will get a notification very quickly. It works far better than any newsletter. It's way quicker. It's near instant, you could say. Um, so it's also used for job listings, especially for companies who have either a lot of, a lot of business and need places filled quickly, or a company who happens to have a blog. If they post a job listing as a blog post, well, you can get those too. Um, so yeah, the only downside to RSS is that you need a reader for that, because an RSS feed is a coded feed, which means that it's written in a certain type of code that is not a very easy read for most people. There's a lot of like HTML coding and stuff that looks like website coding. So it's not an easy read. So you need a reader for that. Now, luckily, a lot of browsers nowadays have an RSS uh, reader. So you could do this on your internet browser. There are plenty of apps that are also readers. And actually, a lot of email software, such as Outlook, or the macOS Mail app, I think, they do all have readers in them. So you could subscribe to certain feeds, and then whenever there's a job posting, you'll immediately know about it. So that's another source. Well, as already stated, social media could be a source of job postings, especially because if a company wants, someone to fill a job, they'll usually post it about it on social media. So a good strategy is to follow your preferred company, if you want to call it that. Follow that company on social media so you get the news very quickly. This also allows you to engage with them on social media very quickly. It's a very shorthand form of connection that you have with that company. So that's another way to get a job. Um, Another source would be staffing and recruitment firms and job boards. So the two are very similar in that they're companies who get you a job, but the way they work are very different. And let me start with a job board first, because that's a simple one. A job board is basically like a big forum where people can, go and they can upload their CV. They can fill in a profile, and then they get matched up with a job. Usually you put in your preferences as to what kind of job you want, what are you qualified for, and the job board will basically just try and match you up with as many jobs as you can. um, the only downside to that is that there's a lot of people on these job boards, a lot of people, and you're not going to really stand out much. At least you might not stand out as much, not as much as you would when you're, personally calling someone, because the company is going to get 1,000 CVs, so you might not make the cut a lot of the time. So a job board is a good thing for people who are looking to at least get their CV out there, but seeing as that it's a bit of an impersonal style of job hunting, you might not get the results that you want. Now, a staffing and recruitment firm, on the other hand, is highly personalized. So what you have is that you go to that firm, you will get a consultant or some form of some person who will help you find a job, someone who will personally call for you to a company and say, "Hey, I've got someone who's qualified for the job and might want this." Um, and not only that, but usually the recruitment firms have a pre-existing connection with the company, and that means that they know what it's like in there. So, for example, you might like the company that you want to get a job at. You might like it from the outside, and be like, "Oh, I just really want to work there." And someone from a recruitment firm might be able to tell you, oh, that company might not fit you because they're very formal or very informal, or they do things in a very different way than what you're used to. And I don't think that's a good fit for you because, a job is not just about doing your job, but it's also about what people you're working together with and what um, hmm, the ambience of your workplace would be. So if it fits you, they can recommend you, and if it doesn't, they'll look for something that fits you just as well as the other one did, but maybe with better teamwork. They have a little bit more insight on that. Um, so yeah, they're a bit more personalized, and sometimes they also manage to get you at least an interview for a job that might not be open. So, um, a job posting might not be open for a lot of reasons. There's plenty of reasons, but a recruitment agent might actually be um, asked to find someone for that job position, but they don't want it to be open for everyone because I don't know reasons, perhaps competition, but they can get you to that job. So that's why that is also a good idea um, for getting a job. So work. Ah, yeah. So right. I think that was everything for this video. Um, so the next video will be talking about what the what you should pay attention to in looking for a job. So what can you expect from your job, and what does your job expect of you? So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.